The novel that I chose to use for my book presentation and lesson planning is the novel called Ghost by Jason Reynolds. So I'm going to be discussing the book itself and the various comprehension strategies that I am going to be writing my lesson plans over for the final presentation. The novel Ghost is about a middle school student, 7th grader, named Castle. He struggles with some serious situations in his life, such as poverty and no longer having his father figure around. So he lives with his mother, trying to find some kind of outlet that he can participate in to help him kind of stay on the right path in life. And that outlet just happens to be running track and field. He is recruited by the local team's coach, seeing him running outside one day. He makes an agreement with Castle and his mother that if he no longer has any altercations or misbehaviors at school, then he can stay on the track team. So it kind of instills some responsibility within Castle to be participating in his schoolwork as he should be, being kinder to his classmates, and not getting sent out of the school building and getting suspended. There are a few times within the novel where Castle is dealing with some either personal issues, such as remembering about his father and what happened with his father, as well as stealing some tennis shoes from a store. So through these consequences that he has to have from his actions, Castle is now faced with the trial if he can still participate on the track team or not. And this track team is actually something that's beneficial for him, not only keeping him out of trouble, but making him realize that he's not alone in this world and that he actually does have a great group of friends. When I'm going to be teaching this novel, I am kind of deciding that it would work great in our unit on childhood. The unit focuses on challenges that children face, as well as successes that they can have based on these challenges. So I think that this novel would work well with that unit, being that Castle has many challenges in his life, personal ones that have to do with school, ones that are on his track team. But he also has some successes when he realizes that he's really great at track and that he actually can make friends and he actually can get his homework done and stay in school and be successful in his academics as well as his possible future running career. The comprehension strategies that I am going to be focusing on for my final lesson plans are going to be annotating the text as well as a Socratic seminar. For annotating the text, I will probably do this early on in the novel, such as introducing the novel from chapters 1 and 2. The good thing about our school is that we can probably get either books that these students can write in, or we can have sticky notes colorized by the colors that you see on the right-hand side of the screen. Or I can just print out the passages from chapters 1 and 2 that I find important for the students to read. While they are reading this particular section of the novel, they will be annotating the text based on these 4 topics. They will be marking anything in their text with yellow that they find to be central or key ideas to the story. So if it's something that they feel is important to the story, that is something that they need to know, then they will mark that in yellow, as well as making connections in yellow to the unit's essential question, challenges and triumphs that children face. So anytime that they see characters in the novel that are faced with challenges or are being successful, then they'll mark that in yellow. They're going to mark parts in red that they liked or that really made them think. So maybe it's a part that made them laugh, made them cry, made them relate to their own personal lives. They're going to mark that in red so that way they can reference those sections of the text if necessary. They're going to mark anything that they have questions on in green. So if they're confused about a particular section, they're not sure who a character is, they want to know more about a location or a setting, then they will mark that with their green. And finally, any words that they do not know, they are going to mark in blue so they can go back and define those words later on. If they have any extra notes that they would like to add, they will just place that in the margins of the text. Once the annotations are finished, I like to have the students share their annotations in small group collaboration. My students currently sit in groups of 4 to 5 pods. So it works well if I have the students have 10 or so minutes annotating on their own, with time at the end after that to discuss what each group member got on each of the 4 different annotation components. So they help each other by identifying key ideas, seeing if they can find other key ideas. They tell each other their opinions on the parts that they liked. They answer questions for each other. If somebody marked something in green and another partner knows the answer, they can clarify. And they can mark words and define words that they do not know together. The second comprehension strategy that I want to introduce with this novel is a Socratic seminar. I like to do seminars at the end of units, end of novels, because it gives the students a chance to use the entire novel as a whole to do some deep reflection. I would probably do this with chapters 9 through 10, the end of the novel. I like to do them in whole class discussions. I sometimes can do small group Socratic seminars, but for this one, I feel it would benefit if they were doing it as a whole. So that way they can get all of their peers' perspectives on the novel. And I feel as if the pilot-co-pilot strategy would work the best for this situation. I would have the students get into either pairs or groups of 3, no more than that, and have an inner-outer circle, as you see on the left-hand diagram, where the pilots are in the inner circle. The pilots are the one who are having the conversation at the time. And their co-pilots are on an outer circle. They are silent. However, they have sticky notes that they can pass to their pilot if they want to contribute something to the conversation, if they want to add something, if they want to start a new question. And if their pilot is lost for words, they can always use the sticky notes from their co-pilots to use as discussion points. This kind of eliminates the pilot from having to do all the talking. If there's a loss for words and they need to get a discussion point in, they can utilize their co-pilot's sticky notes to get that discussion point. And I would switch partners every 10 minutes or so, where the pilot would transfer to become the co-pilot and vice versa. So that way each student gets a chance and an opportunity to be a part of the discussion. The questions that I would ask during Socratic seminar, some of the ones that I feel like would be important not only to the essential question of the childhood unit, but also to the students' understanding as well. What was the main theme or moral or the lesson of the story that they learned from the novel? How did his personality or his character develop from the beginning of the novel to the very end? What kind of challenges did he have to overcome throughout the novel? What triumphs or successes did he have in the novel? And then finally, maybe more of a personal question, how can they relate this novel to themselves? So what were some of the things that they learned and how they can apply this novel to their own life? So I could definitely do more questions. More questions might arise throughout the Socratic seminar, but I feel as if these 5 questions are nice guiding questions for the students to begin with. They can use text evidence, they can use prior knowledge, personal knowledge, deeper understandings throughout the novel to be able to answer these questions in a whole group setting. And my references for this presentation are it's the book that I read for this novel. Thank you for listening.